Hey everyone, I'm Brooke Tallman, and today I'm joined by Cole Whitman, who went to Clemson University and graduated last year with a major in marketing and a minor in business management.
Hey guys,
Cole,
how are y'all?
Cole and I actually grew up together, so he did not go to PC, but he definitely knows and is very familiar with Clinton and the PC culture. So Cole, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So like Brooke said, I grew up in Clinton, was there till about eighth grade, and then my family and I moved down to Charleston, South Carolina, Mount Pleasant, and then I went to high school there, and then ended up heading to Clemson, where I did marketing and then business management. I graduated in 2020, if you want to call it that. They just sent us an email and was like, "Congrats!" Like for the past 4 years, but it went well, and then ended up getting a job with a distributorship for Arthrex, which is a medical device company in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I've been up here for about 9 months, kind of in the height of all the COVID stuff. So it's definitely been interesting, but enjoyed every second of it.
So, what does a day in the life look like for you?
Yeah, so it is very much all over the place, which I like. It switches up each day. Not one day is similar to the other, but I would say typically on the majority of the days, waking up in the morning, and the universal surgery start time is about 7:30. So typically, depending on where we need to be for our accounts, my team covers Chapel Hill, so all of the University of North Carolina, and then we also go down to Pinehurst. So heading into those accounts, making sure they're all set up for the day, set for the week. If that means bringing in trays, bringing in our products, things like that, just to help the surgeries go smooth. So there's a lot of logistics involved, a lot of running around sometimes to bring a tray that an account's going to use for a surgery here from one to the other. So a lot of that, but yeah, it's kind of tough to pinpoint a specific routine each day just because of how much it does end up changing up.
So, with COVID and your school year ending early, do you think you would have, like, were you already prepared to go into the workforce, or did that, how did that affect your choice to where you ended up?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good question. So it definitely hit. So COVID hit right during our spring break. So there was a big part of me that time so I could enjoy kind of the last couple of months of college without having to worry about the stress of finding a job or interviewing or anything like that. So really didn't affect my job hunt too much. I actually got the email, my offer letter the week that we were on spring break. So that was actually pretty exciting. But and kind of locked it down before COVID really started. But definitely seeing somehow it affected my friends. We luckily for in the medical device field, we haven't really slowed down much due to COVID, because if you break your ankle, you have to have surgery. So it's not really something that can get pushed back. We have seen kind of a decrease a little bit in the number of sports or injuries that we've had. So people feeling ACLs, rotator cuffs, things like that. That's not happening as much because people aren't playing sports. So that's been like the biggest effect that I feel like that's affected our industry. But other than that, it's kind of been business as usual for the most part.
When choosing your job, did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? How did it work?
Yeah. So that's yeah. So I actually took a class at Clemson called Selling Medical Devices, and it was partnered with Arthrex. So it was the first year they did it. They were just kind of trying it out. And as soon as I took the class, I knew that this was an industry that I wanted to get into. So basically, after that, I just reached out to one of our contacts at Arthrex, and then they provided me with a list of agencies in the Southeast, which is where I wanted to stay. And then I chose or interviewed with Raleigh, and then I also interviewed in Atlanta, and really just meshed well with the company culture up here in Raleigh and the people. Everybody was great, and it's kind of how I made my decision. But yeah, it was definitely a lot, I would say, on my end at the front, reaching out, you know, sending an email, sending a follow-up email, making a phone call, just
Mm.
trying to network as much as you can at the beginning, because being able to, when you're in an interview and being able to say, oh, I've talked to this person, it goes a long way. for sure.
which is a perk of going to a bigger school and having those more diverse classes. So how do you think
Yeah.
Clemson prepared you for what you're doing now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with like exactly what you just said, the opportunity to take those classes. I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I had gone somewhere else. You know, regardless if it was a big school or a small school, specifically Clemson, that was the only partnership Arthrex had. So that was a great opportunity for me. I also did, I was a tour guide at Clemson. So I did a lot of,
Well,
exactly.
tooting your own horn.
So little tooting your own horn. I know I had to drop that in there, but it was just a lot of talking to people and making connections with people. And I would say like that was a huge thing. Just and I guess networking almost, and being able to have conversations with people and talk to them and kind of strip down the barriers of conversation and things like that, and just really get to know somebody. I think that's gone a long way for me and really prepared me, in addition to those classes, for sure.
So, I mean, you seem to have it going on, figured out pretty well, but if you could go back, is there anything that you would redo or change about your college career or looking for a job?
So this is kind of a tough question, but it's a good one because it does make you think. So I was very career focused in college. I did a co-op for an entire year. So I basically took 2 semesters off of school to do that. I did 2 internships during my time over the summer. As bad as it sounds, I probably wouldn't have done the co-op. That was kind of like my biggest thing, is I was so focused on finding a job and having experience to back that up, that I might have lost sight of just being in college a little bit. And I think that kind of became more apparent when COVID hit and kind of just ripped it right out from under us. And I know obviously seniors this year have it even worse than we did last year. So, just really taking that time to enjoy college, with it obviously still preparing for your future and doing internships. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there's always going to be time for you to pursue professional careers, and what you want to do after school just kind of takes, I don't know, I think I was a little bit too focused on it.
It's not a bad problem to have, but I see where you're coming from.
I think I would have switched that up. Yeah, for sure.
And so the last question is, do you have any advice for students now?
Like just for looking to get into my field specifically, or just like
either one, just specifically, or just college students in general?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say like as you're moving from your college phase to your adult phase and starting your professional careers, I think a lot of it can kind of get lost. It can be a little intimidating, but I think at the end of the day, like something that's really helped me is just try to be a good person. And when I'm having these conversations with surgeons and things like that, a lot of it can get kind of built up. But at the end of the day, they're people too. People, if you're going into a sales field, people are going to buy from people they like. You don't have to try to make like a hard sell or always close or anything like that. Like it's just more about building those personal relationships. So I think that's really what it boils down to. So as you're moving in and you're interviewing, talk to everybody. Be a nice person. Be genuine, because people can tell that, and that goes a long way. It goes a lot further than just what's on your resume. If you can have a conversation with somebody and they can tell your genuine intentions, and I think that is probably my biggest piece of advice.
Maybe you should switch to motivational speaking.
You think hey, I would kind of like to do that. Get up on a stage and just go to town.
All right, well, that is all that we have for today. Thank you so much, Cole, for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Thanks for having me. It was fun. Wish we could have done it in person, but
yeah, well,
COVID.
Probably soon.
Probably soon.
All righty.
Cool.
Have a great rest of your day.
Will do. See you.